get Bank of America. Got a bank, it is not in America. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the set. I am your host, T. Stead. I am joined by a legend, a true legend. Now, I do not use that word lightly. This man, this guy here has been around the game of football and has been on your TV screen for a very, very long time. He doesn't need an intro or a bio. I'll give you some of his notes throughout the episode. But without further ado, welcome, Cris Collinsworth.
Terron, how are you, man? What's up?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing great now. I got a legend. I got a real OG on the show on my young channel. I appreciate you come blessing me and my followers, my subscribers right now as we're figuring this thing out. How you feeling today?
Feel good. We've got getting ready for the season. We've got fantastic opening games for us. We've got Philadelphia and Dallas is the opener, and kickoff as the world champions, and then Baltimore going to Buffalo. So we get the guys who are 1-2 and the MVP balloting going at it on Sunday night. So yeah, can't be any better. Now, getting ready for 2 games instead of 1 game is like juggling. You're like, oh, okay, I know this guy's name, but which one of those 4 teams is that backup tackle playing on? So you got to figure it out a little bit. But yeah, it's a great year for us. We go from we did the Hall of Fame game, so that was actually in July this year, and
Wow.
we do the Super Bowl. So we are going from football in July to football in February. So it's going to be a great long year, but a lot of fun.
You're a busy man. Is it the first year of a Sunday night football doubleheader?
No, I mean, typically we do so they always put the champions on
Yep.
Thursday night.
Okay, Thursday night, right.
A lot of times the games aren't that good. They'll put on somebody and, it's just the world champion, whoever. But this time you get Eagles Cowboys right off the bat, right?
Massive.
And that's now we're going. We're jumping right off the bat into this thing.
No, that's crazy. All right, let's get into this, Chris. So we have a second round pick to the Cincinnati Bengals in 1981, played 8 years, 3-time Pro Bowl wide receiver. So an incredible career, 2 Super Bowl appearances. And we know what you've done in broadcasting. We'll get into that later. But as a player in your NFL career, is there anything that you miss from playing the game? I know it's been a while since you walked away from, but is it anything that you miss from playing the game?
2 things. I missed getting to wear these gloves that you can't drop a pass apparently with anymore. I'm like, we could make any of the catches these guys are making right now.
No, for real.
Odell with 3 fingers in the air and go like, well, get the hell out of here. What is that? And so that's definitely one. The other one that I would have loved to have played with are the balls all scruffed up, like the quarterback balls now.
Yeah.
Because back then, I mean, they literally, I don't know if you've ever felt a ball that comes right out of the box, an NFL ball. They're this bright, shiny orange, and they have this slick film on it or something.
Yep.
And so now they scrub them down and rub them in dirt and resin and whatever else they put on these things. But back then, you had no gloves and you were catching a slimy football. I mean, it was legit. Now they reach down below their knees with these overhand catches. I'm like, get out of here. That is not even possible. Not even possible.
I feel you. Okay. All right. So you had 2 Super Bowl appearances and didn't walk away with a ring. Is that something that sit with you still today? Like, is that something that you think about that you wish you were able to obtain throughout your career?
Every day of my life. I'll bet you
Really?
not one day goes by. Because you always, Tron, the thing about it is when you go to the Super Bowl, like you're just whooping everybody's ass. It's like you're just sailing along and you're the best team and it feels easy. And we're always the favorite and we go in. It's stunning. There were 2 close Super Bowls. The 49ers, I think, have won 5. They had 3 blowouts and 2 close games against us in 2 of them. But yeah, it never goes away. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I had a fumble in the first one. We were horrible in the first half. We had like three turnovers. We're down 21-0 against the 49ers in Detroit. Forrest Gregg comes in the locker room and he says, I won't use the exact language, but well, you can't F it up any worse than you effed it up in the first half. So just go give it a try. And we go out there and we actually cut it to 21-14. We've got the ball on the 1 yard line going in, and we get stuffed twice running the football from the one. And they won 24-20 or 20 something. But,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but to this day, because everybody's a competitor. You didn't make it to the NFL if you're not a competitor, right? I'm like, damn it, how did we lose those games? It's like you still can't really comprehend it. So, and then when I'm announcing the Super Bowl, inevitably my partner, Mike Tirico now, or Al Michaels back in the day,
Michaels. Yeah.
like, you know exactly how it feels to be on this losing team. I'm like, yeah, I do. Just thanks for bringing it
No
up.
way.
Yeah.
Man, Chris, I was really hoping uh I was really hoping that you said no, that you don't think about that, but you say every day, because I just finished my 12-year career. Didn't make it to the Super Bowl. We got really close a couple times. Won in 2018, the no call when they didn't call pass interference against the Rams. We really felt like that was our chance to
Yeah.
win a Super Bowl. But as I've just retired a few months ago, so I think about that. I have that void of never getting the ring and not. But you saying that and how vividly you were just able to talk about the Super Bowl and everything that happened so many years later, man, I was hoping you say like, no, you don't think about it.
The funny
Damn.
thing is, I've never even seen those two games. I've never watched them. I can't.
Wow.
I just can't
Wow.
watch them. It just it's so ingrained in my brain, and Joe Montana going 93 yards on the final drive of the game to win the game. It's like, the worst part was watching him go the distance and not only doing that, but also taking all the time off the clock. I almost got to the point where it looked like it was inevitable they were going to score. I was like, well, hurry up and score. So at least we got a little time on the clock to go the other way. And neither one of those happened. So we helped make Joe Montana and Jerry Rice who they are today.
Man. All right. That was personal for me. I really wanted to get your take on that. Well, let's transition. Okay.
All right.
So um can you share a story with me on what made you know, or when did you know that you would transition into media following your playing career?
I didn't. I was in law school. I was my last
Damn.
2 years playing. I was in law school and got cut by the Bengals. And so I was married. I was just told by my wife that we're expecting our first child. She was a lawyer and working. And now I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just going to be a lawyer. I can start going to school full time and I'll just get through it. And about 2 days later, I got a call from HBO, and they called and said, "Hey, this is Rick Bernstein from HBO. Um, we've had you on our show many times on the Inside the NFL show, and we were just wondering if you would have an interest in doing features for us." And I was like, "Features?" I said, "Well, how much does that pay?" And he said, $50,000. I said, $50,000. I go, that's about what I was making. I go, that's pretty good. I said, all right. I said, I'm in. I said, just got one question. What's a feature? I had no idea what they were even going to do with me. And so, but that started it. And then maybe a week later, I got a call from the local radio station. And Bob Trumpy, who you may remember, used to call the Super Bowl for NBC. He was the number one announcer for several years, had a radio show in Cincinnati. And then he wanted to leave that to go full time. So they offered me the radio show. I was like, all right, that's great. And then about a month into the season, NBC called and wanted me to do 4 games. And I was like, okay. I said, why? And he said, well, there are some weeks we only have 4 games and we've got plenty of announcers. There are some weeks we have 8 games and we need one more announcer. So just whenever we have these big schedules, we need one more. And I was like, okay, I go, I'm in. I have no idea what I'm doing at all. None.
Crazy.
It's not like
It's
they put you
crazy.
through training camp or something. And we go in, and so I've got one of those manila envelopes, that you fold open and you store papers in and all that. So I write the names of the offensive players on the manila envelope, open it up, write the defensive players underneath, flip it over, and do the same thing. So David Michaels, who ironically is Al Michaels' brother, was my producer for the first game. And so he knocks on the door and he comes in and he goes, well, how you doing? Are you nervous? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing all right. And so he goes, well, how are you preparing? So I showed him my manila envelope and he looked at it and he went, oh my God. It's like that. And he goes, all right, forget that. So he gets on the phone and he had been working with Terry Bradshaw at CBS prior. And Terry was nice enough to send over the boards that he had. Terry was calling the games at the point, and these big, good-looking boards. And so they overnight them in, and I write the names on there. And I mean, but it was such a cluster. I mean, nobody, nobody knows what you think. It looks easy, and you think you know what you're doing and talking about. But I mean, there's people. You got to listen to your partner. You got to listen to the producer in your headset. You got to know something on every single player. You got to be able to dissect it. You have to communicate it to the producer. Tell them, I want this replay. I want that replay. I mean, it's out of control. I mean, if you've never done it, it's like somebody put you in and said, all right, we're going to let you fly this helicopter. All right, here we go. Take over. And that's really what it felt like, And probably the funniest part of the whole thing was, in the beginning, in the pregame show, they would put you on camera and you had to, for 1 minute, talk about your game and just you. And so, but there was no way, at least I couldn't do it without thinking, I'm the only person on NBC right now. This is, it is me and that camera and NBC across the nation and around the world. And I sure hope I don't screw this up, And so the first one I did a rehearsal on, it was so bad. I mean, I'm bumbling through this thing. It was an embarrassment. And Bob Costas was on the other end of the line as the host that threw it to me. And he said, all right, Chris, thank you for that. We'll come back to you in just a little bit. And then you could hear him mumble underneath his breath. Hopefully it was something a little better than that. And laughing. But it pissed me off so bad. You know how like sometimes as an athlete, the best thing that can happen to you is just get mad,
Sure.
and you get mad and you quit thinking about what might go wrong or right. And you're just mad and you're just playing. For me, that was always when I played the best. And it actually got me through that first segment because I was nervous and I go, if I screw this up, they're going to come get me. I'm not even going to do the game. They're just going to kick me out right then. So yeah, I mean, it's all those things. It's funny how interrelated broadcasting and football and law school even and all that stuff is. How you study, how you put it all together, how do you present it? It's all relevant.
That's remarkable, really. And how Bob's comment really is what sparked you and got you to focus in and get through it.
He saved me. Now he claims that I would have had zero career if it wasn't for him. You're such a jackass, man. I think I'm still whoop your ass.
That's hilarious. Okay, so you and Al Michaels and now Mike Tirico have been leading Sunday Night Football since 2009, I believe. You're a 17-time Sports Emmy Award winner. So from the story you just told me, fast forward to that being so decorated. Broadcasting Hall of Fame. You've had an incredible career, Chris. Is my point? What I'm getting at. So, as for me, starting into this space and getting into the media, and I'm not sure about broadcasting. I've tried the broadcasting boot camp. It's insane trying to call a game. It's insane, especially the play-by-play guys.
Yeah,
That's different world. So so you're doing this for so long, and I'm sure that you're a fan of teams and players. How do you handle calling games and speaking on the sport without being biased to certain players or certain teams as a media member?
The number one question I get in every single city that I go to, including Cincinnati, why do you hate the whatever their favorite team is?
Really?
Why do you hate the Saints? Why do you hate the Eagles? Why do you hate the Giants? Why do you hate the,
Really?
every city. I get asked that 10 times per trip to any city, whatever it is. And the worst one, Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati, like they legitimately, if you went on social media in Cincinnati, they legitimately think I hate the Bengals. I got season tickets. I played there. I got, and so
What?
this one lady, it was great. She asked me the same thing, everybody. So why do you hate the Bengals? And I go, I don't hate the Bengals. It's just my job to give you an objective voice. And so I try to be honest and I can see where blah, 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 blah. And she goes, well, let me tell you how I know you hate the Bengals. And there's no question about it. I go, okay. And she goes, I want you to think, have you ever in your entire broadcasting career, have you ever one time when the Bengals scored a touchdown and you're calling the game, screamed out, "Whodey!" when they scored? And I went, no. I said, you got me there. I never did that. But that's what they expect because I used to play with a team, and
You should drop one this year, Chris. You should drop one. Just
Houday,
one.
I should just holler out Houday.
Just drop one. Just drop
But then
one.
whoever they're playing, the other fan base would go like, see, I told you he's cheering for the Bengals, So
I'll be waiting on it. We'll upload this video in the comments. You know what I
Houday,
mean?
all right.
Like,
If
it's a
you hear
backstory.
one, it's for you. If you hear one, it's
Perfect.
for you.
That's
All right.
perfect. Okay. One more question in the broadcasting space. What's the key to longevity? From 2009 to be leading the biggest sports show on a weekly basis, what's the key to longevity? Like fighting off all the new up and comers and just being a really a centerpiece for so long in the media around this sport. What's the key?
I think it's the same no matter what you do. So going to law school really helped me. My wife was way smarter than I am. She was in law school with me. She was like number one in our class the whole way through. But
Nice.
and I was just a bit below her. But but when you do it long enough, so in law school, I used to take 100 pages of notes. And for the final, because you only take one test, right? You only have a final exam. So I would whittle that down to 50. And then I would whittle that down to 25. And then I would whittle that down to 5. And I would memorize those 5 pages. And so, and that's how I survived law school. It was a ton of work. And then you do that for 4 or 5 different classes, and that's how you get yourself ready. Well, that same formula has worked for me doing broadcasting. So I have 100 pages of notes from my film study, from PFF, from newspaper articles, from interviews that I do with the players and coaches, 100 pages. So now I'm just trying to whittle that down. What's the most important? Let's cut that in half. All right, let's cut that in half again. Let's get it down to 5 pages. Then I have a digital screen in the booth. And I've hired a guy that does all the notes about the stories of your life and your 5 Pro Bowls and your career and out of Pine Valley, Arkansas, wherever the hell you're from. And so and so you start doing that stuff and you start having a system to doing it. But I think probably the thing that helped me the most was I would do tapes every week for our crew. So I would take game film from the last few games of each team, and I would record it, and they could hear my voice. They could see me doing replays, drawing on the screen, saying what I thought. So the producer would know where I was going or what I thought was important in the game before we got there. So a lot of times our producer would come on and he would know what I was talking about, or he would see something that I didn't even see. So Fred Godelli, Rob Hyland now, and those guys, we all sort of thought as one, like in practice when you're getting ready for a playoff game or whatever, and you get in there and you finally come out and like by Saturday, you're all thinking about the same thing, right? It's the same thing with broadcasting. And so and they've got screens up there. And so I can see a lot of different camera angles that you can't see. So it's really, I hate to admit this, but it's not that hard because what you do is
Chris, you're funny, bro.
So Mike Tirico, his job is he's going to watch the football. He's doing exactly what everybody at home in America is doing. He's watching the football. Well, I watch anything but the football. I swear there are at least 3 times a game. I have no idea where the ball is. I don't know who has it. I don't know how he got there. I don't know anything. But I'm watching offensive line play. I'm watching a corner wide receiver matchup. I'm watching an inside backer. Now it's a little like baseball. You're guessing, is it a fastball, curveball, changeup, whatever, right? So if it's a pass protection moment, I may be watching you and your protection on the edge against one of the great pass rushers in the league, right? And so then I can come back and say, hey, give me that shot, right? It's something that you at home have not seen. Now, sometimes I predetermine that, but usually sometimes I'm just wrong. And whatever I was watching just wasn't on there. And so then I'll either let the producer put up whatever he wants and I'll just follow along, or I'll let Mike lead a discussion because Mike knows everything about everything. He's unbelievable. Such a smart guy. And then we just go at it from that. So it's like, man, it's like a big dance. It really is. But I think it really starts with the preparation and then trying to teach each other what we're looking for in the game so that it doesn't come as a surprise when it happens.
Okay. That makes perfect sense. It's preparation, and it sounds like being a great teammate.
Well, and vice versa. I mean, those guys are killing themselves on the stats and the data and getting ready for the broadcast, and they're telling me what they're looking for and how they're preparing. So it's like we have five different key people. They're all doing their thing, and then Friday and Saturday we're putting it together.
I got you. Okay. I appreciate that for sure. Okay, Chris, let's transition again. Let's get to PFF.
All right, here we go.
Pro Football Focus. Here we go.
Let it go, baby. This is your chance to get it off your chest. Here we go.
Yeah, no, for sure. So we have Cris Collinsworth, everyone. He's the owner of PFF, Pro Football Focus. They've been around for a very long time. Very, very impactful in the sport of football. Very, very impactful. The impact on fandom, the impact on contracts, on players and how they're viewed, fan perception. First, Chris, what I want to ask, how did PFF come to life?
There's a guy named Neil Hornsby who started like a football club, a football like hobby, whatever, in England. And he and a group of his buddies, they weren't really soccer fans, but they got a chance to see an American football game one time. And they were completely intrigued by the statistics that were on the screen, right? And so they're like, wow, that's really cool. We should try that. And so they built some data set system of data collection and started inputting from different games these data sets and different things. Never thought anything of it. One day they got a call from the New York Giants. And the Giants said, look, we've come across your data and it's actually more accurate than what our guys are putting together for us. Would you mind if we use your data? Well, these guys are out of their mind. They're a bunch of guys from England and Ireland and Scotland. They're like, yeah, you can use our data. It was like, great. It was like Christmas morning for them. And so then the New York Giants, in a bizarre twist, the New York Giants are playing the Patriots in the Super Bowl in Indianapolis. I was in Cincinnati. So I'm just going to drive up. My wife is in the car, and then when we drive or whatever, she'll read me newspaper articles. So she had the Wall Street Journal, and she's reading me this newspaper article. She goes, "Oh, you're going to like this." There's a story in the Wall Street Journal about the New York Giants' secret sauce to going to the Super Bowl, and it was this England-based company called Pro Football Focus.
Wow.
And she goes, "Oh, that, she's reading me an article. She goes, you ought to put that on the air." And I'm like, I'm not putting on the Super Bowl, some dopey thing from England that I'm not doing it. There's just no way. Literally, like 3 years later, NBC asks me to do a post game show. And I'm like, okay. I said, I can, I go, I don't get to watch a lot of the early games, but how much are you going to pay me? And they gave me a number, and I was like, I can make it up from there. So I started looking around on the internet, and I said, surely somebody's got a bunch of data from these individual games. I come across Pro Football Focus, and they've got color coded sort of depth charts, who's good, who's bad. And I'm looking at this thing. It's like, all right, you can pay $26.99. All right, $26.99. Here I go. I pay $26.99. And you go a little deeper. And so I've done a couple of these games and the teams in the last few weeks. And I'm matching up what I know, what the coaches have told me with their data. I was like, that's pretty good. And so then in that contact us thing in the upper right hand corner of computer
Yeah.
screens. So in there I go, hey, this is Cris Collinsworth. And who are you guys? I thought they were a bunch of former coaches or players or whatever. And I put my phone number in. About 3 minutes later, I get this international ringtone, on my phone. And I can't do a British accent, but this is Neil Hornsby, blah, 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 blah. And I'm own PFF. And now I'm like, I am such a dope. I can't believe this Brit just hustled me out of $26.99. I'm so mad I can't contain myself.
Oh, Chris,
And
come
so I
on.
said, all right, I'm going to end this right away. So I started asking him about tackles and inside linebackers and special teams. And this dude's going boom, 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 boom. He's answering faster than I can ask the question. I'm like, who are you? I go, this is like an out of body experience. And he tells me the story about this club and this thing. And so I'm like, okay. But like within a month, I own PFF. I was like,
Wow.
we just, all right, I own it. So now we come along and we're creating this thing, but it's
What year
got
was that, Chris? If I can stop you. What year was that?
2014.
Okay. Okay.
And so, but my first question was, can we do this for college? Right? I said, we were just taking NFL data and selling it to NFL teams. I said, well, that's interesting. And we've got 15 teams maybe by now that are buying it. I said, but if you did the college data, the NFL teams would buy it because of the draft and the college teams would buy it. So we set out to do that, which was a huge undertaking. I spent many a night looking at the ceiling going, I don't know how I'm going to pay all these suckers out there. I mean, it's like we were so broke, it was ridiculous. And but eventually it kind of came around. And then we started doing, and we were just like a B2B thing. We just sold to businesses, we sold to teams. And then we started doing like consumer facing stuff. And because people would subscribe, and obviously they had it back in the day when I was doing it, but we're going to push it. And so then that's when the thing with the grades, and then we started with the 1 to 100 grades. And
Sure.
I was telling you this story earlier, but in reality, JJ Watt kind of broke the system because the grades basically are 1 to 99, but they're based on how you rank against every other guy at your position. So you would be ranked against tackles, right?
Yep.
Other guys. So J.J. Watt was so good that we were sitting there, we didn't know what to do. So there was such a gap at one time between J.J. Watt and the other defensive tackles that were on the board. And so I'm like, well, we can't make J.J. Watt 108. We got to make him 99, right? If he's the highest, we'll make him 99. And they go, okay. But to do that and rank him respectfully against the other players in the league, the other players have to be starting with like 88 or 87. And I'm like, well, we can't do that. We've got 5 all-pro guys that you're telling me are in the 80s? And they go, yeah, some of them in the low 80s compared to J.J. Watt. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. And so so that's how the gap started. So everybody sort of thinks about it as like a school grade, right? Like if you get in our system, if you get a 90 or above, you are one of the elite 10 to 20 players in the league for that week. And there's not many of them that get that higher grade. If you are in the 70s or 80s, you are a B to an A minus, B plus kind of player. If you are 60, you're an average NFL player. But nobody looks at it like that. But we had to do that because damn J.J. Watt was screwing up our whole system. And so now all of a sudden, guys are getting 65 grades and they're out of their minds and their fan base thinks they stink, right? And players are mad. It's now because we go to practice on Friday when we were doing the games. And so every once in a while, a guy about your size will start walking towards me and I'm going, oh man, what's his PFF grade? Is this friendly fire? Am I about to die here? You know, what is going on? But yeah, I get it. It's a burden on the players. You know, I always say, you know, basically we can make players look as good or bad as we want, but I mean, we really take it seriously. We've been accused of, you know, working with a guy's agent and adjusting his grades or helping a team or, I mean, all this kind of stuff. But we really have blinders on. I mean, we really we're going to do our system. We understand our system. We want to understand that player's position rank amongst all the players at his position. And we get it. We understand it. People who don't understand it sometimes panic. And players who don't understand it, who maybe played a really good game and got a 67. We get that. Well, he had a good game, you know. But from their standpoint and from the fan standpoint, they go crazy. And so then I just, you know, I started wearing my helmet out when I was meeting with the players, you know, because you never know who's going to get mad. But it's a bizarre universe out there. But yeah, I get it. I know why players get mad. I do.
It's serious, man. It's super serious. And it brings me to my next and final part of why we're here today, Chris, why you've joined the set. And I greatly appreciate you because you understand the system very well. You know the system, it works. But as you just said, the players don't know it fully. A lot of fans don't know it fully. And it brings us to this collaboration. So we have PFF and T-Stead. We're collabing this year, all season long. And the reason behind this collaboration, the goal here is to provide more clarity, is to continue to help the accuracy of the grades and what guys are getting and what the fans see, further details on the grades. So I want to be able to provide detailed explanations and justification on a grade. So we're talking Trent Williams. He graded an 82 versus Myles Garrett. But Trent didn't give up a sack. He didn't give up a hit, a pressure. Why doesn't he have a 95 grade? You know? So I watch the film, I get the grades, I get the analytics, and I will be able to provide that clarity. All right. Myles Garrett was able to affect Brock Purdy's launch point on X amount of plays. He didn't get a hit, but he impacted the play. Or Trent missed on a 3rd and 1 in a huge moment in the short yardage run game, impacted his grade. So I believe in that space, I will be able to provide more clarity. And you guys, as you're teaching me the system and as I'm sharing what I see and how I see the game, I think it will help the accuracy. It'll help the players get more clarity. I'll be a little bit of a buffer, so a guy might walk up to me now,
Good.
which is okay. I can handle that for sure. But I think this is I commend you guys, you, Mike P, Mike Parker, for even being willing to have this collaboration to provide more context behind the grades and the rankings, because it is so important. And contracts are being decided, is leverage, fans' perception. A guy might not grade well, but he's a good player, but fans can't see it because they just see that grade. But now with some more context in this collaboration, I think will be incredible moving forward for the sport.
We're excited about it. We really are, because we don't feel like we hide anything. And the one thing to understand is we don't grade on a curve. Like, you may be going against in your division, you may have 4 all-pro edge players that are playing on your side. You don't get the benefit of the doubt of that. The person who's playing against a third string pass rusher, he doesn't get nobody says it's like, how did you do in that game on every single
That
play?
that right there, Chris, where we might, as we continue to build our collaboration and relationship, that might be something I interject on.
I think you should. Honestly,
I
I
might
think
interject on
I think it's part of the story that, man, you make an 82 against Myles Garrett. Here, let me back up the Brinks truck. I'll take that
Yeah,
all day long, right?
no lie.
But that's the
No lie.
perspective that comes out of it. So I can't expect our guys to grade on a curve and know, oh, well, this player's a C minus player. This player's a B plus player. It's like, I just want you to tell me who won the rep. Who won the
I got
rep? That's all I want to know. And I'll tell you one other quick story. I have had one guy, I won't tell you his name, and another guy I will. Um, 2 different offensive coaches have actually taken me up on the offer to come into the office and talk to my guys and sit in there with us. One was Chip Kelly with the Philadelphia Eagles, who every time I went in to do a game, he would just beat me up one side and down the other. I mean, just over PFF and the grades and all that kind of stuff. And the other one was an offensive line coach. And I was like, guys, I go, look, I hear you. I know it's painful. I know you hear it a lot. I said, just in the off season, if you're anywhere close to Cincinnati, just come in and sit down with my guys and just listen to them. Like, just look at our system. So Chip comes in, and I mean, so I've got my grading team assembled in there, and he starts in. And I mean, an hour later, he hasn't even taken a breath. And I'm going, oh, this is a really bad idea. This is a really bad idea. And so he's just beating him up. And so finally he goes, all right, he was done. And I said, all right, I go, let my guys just explain, what we're doing. Comes in there 4 hours later, we finally leave the room. Chip walks out, as did the offensive line coach, who I won't say his name because he did not buy into the company. But
I
both
know him.
guys came out and said, can I invest in this company? Both of them.
Wow.
Chip actually is a co-owner of
Wow.
and they got it. So they understood exactly some of the details of what we're talking about. But the whole point of it is it's an arrow to watch the play. So the reason we started, so we have 160 different data points that we collect data on for you on every single snap you have ever done. Now, they don't all apply. You don't all check the box. And our grading system is minus 0.5, plus 0.5, 1.0, minus 1.0, up to 2, right? But so if you get a grade on the play of any kind, so let's say that you just kind of did your job, you're on the backside of a run, your guy doesn't get there, but we're not going to evaluate that, right? That's not a graded play. But if you're at the point of attack and you miss a block, we're going to take a negative out of it. But what that does is it triggers the film. So now I'm going to, when I'm getting ready for a game, whether it's a plus grade or a minus grade, we have this thing called key plays. And the key plays are every play that we have graded you on. Okay. Some good, some bad. But it's
Fire.
unbelievable
That is
how
fire.
in 20 snaps, I will see your entire game. I used to get ready for the draft. I would go into the Bengals offices over there and I'd want to study some wide receiver. Do you know what it was like to put on a tape of some wide receiver and you had to watch a team run it 40 times, throw it 20 times, three of which went to my guy? I've just
Yeah.
spent an hour and a half watching this stupid tape and I've seen him three times. I'm no better off than when I got finished. Now, if I want to see that player, I can see every time that player had an impact on his game for his team going back to 2006. It's like a Google search for film, but
Wow.
it's only
Wow. Wow.
triggered because of the grades. So that's why the grades are so important to us because it tells us this is a piece of tape you should watch. And that's
Okay.
what teams are doing now to get ready for the draft. They may not agree that that was a minus 0.5 or a plus 0.5 or whatever. They might not agree with the grade, but that grade has triggered their ability to see plays that player was at the point of attack. And now studying is so much easier. Like I can go back and watch every one of your plays. I can say, all right, I want to see the worst plays that you had this entire year. And I will get them one after another after another. Or I want to see the best plays. Like one of the weaknesses of our system, in my opinion, is that we assume you're going to make your block, right? That's our zero platform.
Right.
So we assume that you're going to make the block. So the only plays that get pointed out from an offensive lineman standpoint are the ones that you miss or that you fail.
Oh, okay.
See, so the grade is different for an offensive line, but we realize there's a negative component to that. So then to catch you guys up to, say, edge rushers who, every time they move a quarterback, they get a positive grade. But so now we do I don't know what the system is, we multiply your grade by 1.4 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it matches the other grades. The problem I have with that is that I only see when you miss your blocks, right?
Right.
There's
Right.
no category for us of when you make a spectacular block to save a guy
Oh
off.
no, we got to change that.
But I'm just saying I can't watch
I get it.
70 plays of you
Yeah,
doing your job,
for
right?
sure. I get it.
I
I
don't
get
have
it.
time to do that. So I will go back and I understand the system. So I'll go back and I'll watch all the pass plays for a game because I'm not really looking for success. I'm looking for how quick you are, hand placement, can you stay in front? Do you lean
For sure.
forward? Do you fall over? All that kind of stuff. But I mean, damn, if I had the ability to explain this to everybody who ever played offensive line in the NFL, I would have much rather made kickers mad or something like that. It was not a good concept to do that to
Yeah.
offensive linemen. That just was not a solid concept.
Look, we're about to fix it. We're about to fix it. All of it. But Chris, that insight is beautiful. It adds so much more context to it. It makes sense. And I haven't seen a system up close yet. I haven't. But that alone makes much more sense to me. It's like that context. It brings it all together. That's
You'll
perfect.
totally get it, and you'll come to appreciate it because you won't be wasting time. Like I can watch an entire player's season in the same time it used to take me to watch one game tape of that wide receiver. I know. You're going to get addicted to it. And a year from now, you're going to go, all right, I understand. This
Yo,
gets you to the answer faster. You're right. It does.
let's go. Let's go. Chris, I know you have to leave. I'm gonna let you go. I always finish my show. I always finish the set with a fun "Would you rather" question. So I'll drop that question for you right quick before we get out of here.
Let's do it.
So, would you rather run every step that you take, or rap every time that you speak? So every step you take, you're taking off running, whether you're in a grocery store, taking the kids to school, whatever, or rap every time you speak. Sunday Night Football will get a lot more crazy on a weekly
Man, would
basis.
I like to rap with every word I spoke? That would be something else. I would. Can you imagine my country butt
Oh,
up there rapping on I would do it in a heartbeat. I would. I would just do it. I'd get fired. I wouldn't care. I can live without the money. I would be a legend. I would be a
facts,
legend.
facts. Chris, man, I greatly appreciate you. You're a true legend, man. True legend of the sport. As a person as well. I'm looking forward to working with you guys. PFF and T-Stead collab. I'm excited. Thank you so much for joining the set. Please, everybody, like, comment, share, and subscribe. We just had Cris Collinsworth. What? Like, come on, man. This is crazy. For
We're
sure, Chris.
excited to
Thank you.
have you with us, man. We really are. And I'm just telling you right now, we want your honest opinion and we want your help and
I
we
got you.
want what you believe. And I think that's the only way you get better at anything, football, business, whatever it is. But we do not shy away from commentary. We encourage it. And we're excited to have you.
I got you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you, bro.
All right, buddy.
I appreciate you all for joining me here on the set. I am your host, T. Stead. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I will be your home base all season here on the set, giving you the latest and the greatest. So come rock with us every Monday, every Thursday, all season long. Is going to be the place to be, live on the set with your boy T. Stead. Peace.